Got a new project. Bought this on Craigslist for 25 bucks. It's a Toro, let me pull up this. Model 2624, serial number 601-8928, which that's important on deciphering what year this is, because every year they brought the serial number up by one digit. So the 6 series would be 86, 7, 87, 8, 88. I'm not sure if they went any further than that. So this one, I believe, is 86. You can put that somewhere. For right now, it's got the original bag. Now, the original, well, not the original owner, but the guy I bought it off of said that he tried to get it running, but he couldn't. Now, he said it was running last summer, though what really scares me is he was running it with the original foam air filter, which I'm not sure this will come up on camera, but this has got serious foam rot. And this has shrunk a lot. You can kind of look down there. It doesn't really cover. You're not going to really see that because it's too light out here, but it doesn't really cover the entire thing, and it's just, every time I bang it, it's all shredding away. So I hope that it didn't ruin too many things. That just scares me a little bit. I will have to replace that if I plan on using this. What I currently have for a mower is some Troy built Lowe's special, but that's no fun. This is actually a fancier unit. The point of this video is we're going to try and get this thing running. Now, you're going to notice something different on this control panel. It has a key, and by the looks of it, you can actually start this thing off a battery instead of using the pull starter, which is what the key-lectric system is. But that's going to need a little bit of work to get running. And you can see some paint chipping off enamel there. I don't care. Down here we got a battery box. That's where your little battery would go. And then you got your wiring here. This is where the battery would plug into. But you're gonna notice something something funky going on. Nothing's focus. Yep. Nothing's connected to that tumbler. And we have 3 wires here that are bunched together in a wire nut. For some reason, somebody cut the wires to this and twisted them all together, so that if I apply 12 volts to this right now, that starter motor is going to crank. I have no clue why. I believe this larger wire goes to the starter motor, and I think this smaller one is for the whatever charging circuitry this thing has. So I think this thing can recharge the batteries a bit, though I'm not sure how effective it would be. You might have to recharge it every now and again in your house. I think it actually recommends it on the battery. I still have the original battery. I'll put this on later. I actually drew up a small schematic for the people watching this that are more visual people. Hold on. Okay, this is crude, but it'll give you a visual sense of what's going on with that wiring. You got your battery, which in this case, I believe this is the original battery. It kind of looks like an Optima almost, with these round battery cells. I believe this is a sealed lead acid. If I'm wrong, please somebody correct me, but sounds like one. When you shake it, usually dead ones. I like that. But your negative goes straight to the starter motor, I believe, and then the positive goes over here. That smaller wire goes straight to the charging circuitry, and then that other thick wire that goes to the starter motor is in line with the ignition switch. So that after you crank it, the charging circuitry still has a path to charge the battery. Again, I'm sure somebody will correct me if I'm wrong, but I'm pretty sure that's how I'm going to do it until I can find out otherwise. There's not really good documentation online. These batteries seem to cost about $50 at the cheapest, so I'll see what I can do. I don't even need that system. I'd also need a key because the other owner I bought it off of doesn't have one, and he actually thought that was some sort of aftermarket system. So, he seemed a little clueless about it. He couldn't even give me a model number, even though it's on that plate in plain sight. Anyway. Okay, I had to re-record this because it cut out about partway through when I was recording the last of this. But I came back out here, I checked the oils, got plenty. It doesn't have, the gas tank is bone dry, so I'm not sure if that's the only reason why it wouldn't start. That owner seemed pretty clueless, so I wouldn't really be that surprised. But also, another thing I'm suspicious of is there's a little fuel filter right down here. It's one of those dark ones that you can't see through, so I'm not sure if that's dirty or not. It could very well be. That's why it's not running. But beside the point, these old Suzuki engines with the Mitsuki carbs, or however you pronounce that, those are usually fairly reliable, so I'm gonna hope that it doesn't need a rebuild, because these engines can get expensive when they're not working, but when they are, they're really reliable. But anyway, what I'm gonna have to do is I'm gonna have to try to get the other end of this fuel filter undone. I've already got one end, the easy end. This other end is in a very hard to reach area, so that's gonna be a pain in the ass. And I also know I have spark and compression because I squirted some starting fluid down in there, and it looks like there's even a little bit left, so if I were to pull this right now, it might come to life. Hold on. Yep, came to life. So we at least have spark and compression. Granted, that's not an absolute test. I really should pull that spark plug if I want to put this thing to service. But yeah, I'm gonna stop this video and we'll come back once I test that fuel filter. That wasn't too hard because the other end was apparently held on by a zip tie, which that little fuel filter I think I left inside. That's not clogged. This pipe I poured a little gas in to see what the flow is like, and it seems to be spurting out fine, so I'm going to put that thing back in. I'm going to fill this thing up with gas. I'm going to hope it's not a carb issue or anything. Could just be that that guy forgot to put in gas. He seemed pretty ignorant, as I said. So, I'll be right back once this is all put back together. Okay, I filled this thing with a little bit of gas. I got that filter back on, and just for the hell of it, while I was off video, I gave it a pull, and I'm not exaggerating, this thing actually started on first pull. Let me see if I can recreate this, because that was just neat. 3, 2, 1. Holy. Wow. Wow. Woo. Wow. Well, we got a first problem. Now it's working. I think what this thing needs to do is I need to run a little bit to get more fuel into the car, but I think other than that, it's pretty good. I was noticing at first that if I took it off choke and put it into fast, it wasn't really working that well, but once it starts warming, I think it's just because it's been sitting for so long that carb's probably empty, or maybe the fuel you had was bad or something. It'll come back. But this is, wow. Okay, so it kind of runs. The throttle control's a little touchy. I noticed if you go to slow, if you're going from slow to fast, you gotta put in choke before you put in fast, or else the thing dies. So I'm suspicious of the carb. It's probably gonna need a rebuild, but it runs, which is more than I was expecting out of this. I wasn't expecting to get this running today, which I'm kind of happy I did, because this is really the only really warm day we have this week. I think today is about 60 degrees, and today's Wednesday. By Saturday it's supposed to be back down to 15-20 degrees, which is fun. But now that I know this thing works, I can put some money into it, because I'm not putting money into a machine that doesn't work. Of course, before I start looking at the carburetor, what I'm going to do is I'm going to check this spark plug, make sure it's all up to snuff. And after that, before I actually do a full rebuild, I'd probably take off this bowl and check the main jet, make sure that that's intact. If it's clogged, I'll try unclogging it and see if that makes a difference with this. But other than that, it's not bad. For practically all I really did was put fuel in it. I didn't have to do anything to this. It just ran, so I'm not sure why that guy said it doesn't start. The only thing I can think of is he forgot to put fuel in it, because that tank was bone dry. But yeah, this isn't a bad engine. I'm impressed. Anyway, thanks for watching. I do plan to be making I'm still waiting on a disc for the Mac Plus, so I can't do anything with that. And the Walkman, I have the parts, but I keep putting it off. I don't know why. But anyway, thanks for watching, and see you later. One more update. I let this thing run for about 10 minutes or so, and I think I've got this thing running smooth as butter almost, so I think nothing's wrong with that car. I think it's because this thing doesn't have a because it doesn't have a primer bulb that maybe because it was out of gas, that just took a little bit for the gas to fully fill the thing, and maybe there was some passages that were slightly clogged that running somehow broke apart. I don't know. I'm not questioning it. I'll put this in the fast because it's still warm. Granted, I should probably test this when it goes cold again, but if my Troy belt is any hint of how this thing is going to react, I don't think it's going to make any difference unless I let this thing sit for like another 3 or 4 months. Anyway. As you can see, now I can bring it full from pretty much all the way down to slow to all the way up to full throttle, and I don't have to put in the choke. It doesn't give me any hard time. It goes up and down smooth like butter. I'm very impressed. So that means now I can start making an inventory of parts to buy for this thing, and I can get it fixed up, and hopefully this is a pretty good quality mower. I can use it this year instead of my old Troy belt, which I'm just going to make it clear that's a good mower for what it is, but it's Chinese, it's junk compared to this. This is built to be serviced. That Troy belt, good luck finding parts or a person to service it, because those big box store ones are meant to own for a couple of years and toss it. Probably one of the most important things I'm going to get is a new foam air filter, because that old one is junk. I'm probably going to do an oil change on it. The fuel filter on this I'm going to keep because that's still nice and clear. I'm going to sharpen the blade on my bench grinder. And I'm also going to try and fix that key-lectric system, because that'd be a nice conversation piece. I'm going to clean this thing up. I don't think I'm going to paint this deck, because I don't feel like taking out the whole motor, and the paint's honestly not that bad, and this thing is 30-something years old. I think it's earned some of its imperfections, so I'm not a picky person. Honestly, not in bad shape. I'm happy to have the original bag over there, thankfully. And yeah. And what's neat about this is you don't need to be holding this, unlike most mowers that when you let go of this bar, it shuts the engine off automatically. This one, you can let it go and it has a blade brake, so it'll stop the blades, but the engine will still run. I believe the mower deck is connected, is this wire right here. You'll notice, if you pay close attention to it. In order to re-engage blade, you have to bring this thing all the way down, and then when I start bringing it back up again, you can see it engage. I'm about middle right now, and now when I bring it up all the way, that would be blade engaged. And then when I let go and put this back in the middle, it doesn't engage. It unengages. Yeah. And you'll notice if I push it back up again, it doesn't go back. That's because in order to get the blades back, I would have to put it back down, redo that again, but it doesn't shut off the engine, which is good. I don't have to keep restarting it. So, yep. It's definitely a project, not a big one, thankfully, but I have high hopes for this. Thanks for watching if you made it this far, and hopefully I can crank out some more videos soon.